um, completed at the request of a certain benefactor um, uh, known as Sylvain. And to complete the quest was there was the reward um, a uh, was a magic item of some rarity, some notable rarity, um, and uh, and would require you to travel to a land quite a bit of distance away from your current location. Um, uh, you and this benefactor has given a method from which you can get there, specifically a magical circle that basically can be activated um, to appear in the main city of this island known as Chult. Um, the, perhaps even the only city, but I'm not sure you would know that. So you, being an adventurer, seemingly maybe even a new one, um, looking for some specific magic item, perhaps, or uh, perhaps looking for a place to um, explore new waters in new possibilities with your business ventures in air quotes. um, had decided to um, uh, uh, basically accept this quest. So you basically head to a specific room off from the uh, uh, actually a specific building off from the Unnamed Adventuring Guild's headquarters, and you're taken to a magic circle, which uh, some magic is chanted, and you are sent the whisk to a faraway location. Um, uh, you appear in a um, in a another room, but also very well um, uh, uh, furnished, but notably, like just immediately you can tell there's a major aesthetic and architectural difference. One of the big things is that the roof seems oddly placed, um, and there's a lot more color. The other thing that is notable is that the um, the weather, the atmosphere that you're currently in becomes notably more muggy. It's very wet and very hot. Um, and as you arrive, there is a servant there. Or there's a guard and a servant. And the servant goes, "Ah, you must be from the UAG."
Aye, is this the city of Schult?
And the servant kind of nods, a little intimidated from you by your appearance, clearly, and says, Let me get Sylvain," and then heads off. So you have a moment where you're kind of just looking out the window. We kind of have a chance to look out the window, figure out kind of your general vicinity. You can see that you're in some sort of port town. You're in a building that's in one of the areas of town that's higher up. But you can see many buildings colorfully painted, or maybe something else considering the humidity. Um, kind of stretches out below you. Huge dock. And in the out the other window, you can see what looks to be like a dense jungle, thick, big trees, who knows how much undergrowth. Um, and you kind of nod and go, and you can tell you have definitely arrived someplace very different. Um, this robed figure comes up. There is a silver face mask over their face, um, and they say, "You are from the unnamed adventure. Pinkus sent you, yes?"
I. He did.
She says, "Well, I I am the benefactor for this job. I will be able to create a item of within my skills to reward you. I what I need you to do is to find an item uh, known known as the Soulmonger, and on this island somewhere, and do what you can to end what is uh, known here as the Death Curse. Um, and I need you to do it as quickly as possible. In return, any item within my talent, which is somewhat notable, will be yours to for me to make for you. Anything you find is yours to keep. Any anything else is up to you. Any decisions is up to you to make. There is another group who is hired by myself as well. They're currently staying at the Red. Um, let's see, what is this place called? Hold up. Mm, The Red. The, the Thundering Lizard. That's what it is. This is at the Thundering Lizard near the Red Bazaar, which is to the south. And she kind of just points off that direction, in a direction, motioning which way south is. Is there anything else you need to know?
When I find this soulmonger device, I bring it back here. And then you agree to make an item.
I don't need the Soulmonger, although it may be necessary that you bring it here in order to remove the death curse it's causing. But uh, what I know is that the Soulmonger is causing the death curse, and I don't want the death curse to exist.
I see. Well, I shall go meet these others you've arranged with, and perhaps together we shall find this thing for you. Agreed.
Agreed. Um, uh, the this person kind of uh, motions to one of the servants who kind of leads you out of the building. She kind of walks with you, um, and as you are exiting, she kind of points down. You can see the path. There's like a bridge. So where you're located is a building on top of what might be a hill of some sort. And there's a few buildings here, but they're kind of spaced out. But they're all built atop these small hills with bridges connecting them. And beneath them, built into these hills, is buildings. Some of them are built on the ground floor, but many of them are just stacked on top of each other. So, although, yeah, it's probably some sort of hill that these other buildings are built on, um, uh, all its space has been covered with these residential buildings or whatever else. And she kind of points out in a direction which you can see leads across a bridge to what looks to be maybe like a temple. I can describe the temple in a bit. And then that area leads down. and then she points probably to head that way, and then the Red Bazaar will be that way. It points again, and it looks like the Red Bazaar is probably across the docks, which are take up a huge chunk of the city. Almost a third of the city, if not half the city, is docks, effectively. Ooh, Mike is something. There, Darren.
Pardon me. Goth knows his way around ships and docks and wharfs, and he breathes in the sea air with his massive nostrils.
Mm-hmm.
And then says, "So, I will go to this place, this thundering lizard first, and perhaps introduce myself to these others. They might have clues."
She
And
nods.
I take off, and is she going to follow? Or,
She doesn't look like she is. No.
okay, I kind of ignore her and head off.
That's fair.
Through the streets at speed. I can move pretty quick. And I'm
Oh, no
looking
doubt.
around to see if there's any other minotaurs around, or it's the makeup character of the city racially, and I've kind of
Yeah.
taken in. I've seen a few different cities being a sailor,
Oh,
but
yeah.
this one
So,
is,
yeah, so this is definitely a port city, which one of the things about port cities that you know about is that they generally are pretty diverse culturally, because a lot of if they accept a lot of trade, I guess is the main thing. Um,
yeah,
this city is no different. No minotaurs whatsoever. You have not even a single one. But you see uh, the dark skinned humans that are probably Chultans, local to this isle. You see a few cat people, humans that are humanoid, human-sized cats of various different fur and pelt. Um, you also see, uh, let's see, you might even see a bird person, a flying bird human. um, and the last and biggest thing that is dominating this city is their beasts of burden are neither cow nor bull nor horse. They are using huge lizards. Um, you may have even heard of these things known as dinosaurs. Some of them have feathers, some of them have scales, but they are there's some four-legged, some a few two-legged, and they are their beasts of burden.
interesting.
Classic Jurassic Park dinosaurs.
And Goth realizes as well that as he thumps his head with his hand, "Oh, I forgot to ask for the names or appearances of these others." Well,
So you
it'll
turn
sort
back
out.
around. All right, sounds good. All right, so you make your way through the docks without too much issue. Head your way the direction she pointed, and it does take you a little bit of time. So go ahead and roll me an investigation check to find something, which we'll get to.
Oh, roger that.
So just a D20 plus intelligence plus proficiency if you are proficient with investigation. Seems unlikely, but hey,
That's
well
funny.
educated Minotaur.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just getting my dice roller ready. I had it in the background. Oh, I got 2 13s. It's like the rolls are two rolls.
Yeah. I'll just take the first. That's fine. I guess they're the same.
If it
Um,
was advantage or disadvantages, it
right.
automatically rolls two, right?
Yep, exactly. Probably. 13 total. That's good enough to find the Thundering Lizard. No issues there. You think you know why it's called the Red Bazaar? Although there's a number of other shops, one of the big things is that it looks like some meats are processed in this area, and a lot of the blood that is part of that is just sent down the gutters. So this thing, it's raining, which you suspect is not uncommon here. But this area of town, the gutters are have a pink, somewhere between pink and dark red tinge going through them. Um, And you find this thundering lizard. Actually, wait, I just realized it should have been the House of Repose. Well, it hasn't, wasn't it? She doesn't know you guys were staying at the thundering lizard. She knows. She thought you were at the Jennifer Repose. Okay, well, whatever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, but everything's the same except for it's the House of Repose, not under this. It doesn't matter.
Fine,
And
it's okay.
yeah, and you arrived. As you head in, you see that there is a picture of. I'll just say that there's 3 Z's for House of Repose, but immediately below it there's a sign, and on it it has some names etched into the side. Um, they
I
don't.
doubt I'm literate, by the way. I'm
Oh,
not
that's it. Sure. What's your intelligence?
9.
9. Okay, we'll say that you are partially literate.
Semi-literate.
You notice some words which you can attempt to decipher if you so wish, on another sign posted next to it. But that is
Okay,
all.
concentrating on the strange marks and putting them back into my
That's right. Yeah,
fist.
exactly. What is this telling me? Is it closed? Is that what this place is? And it looks like they're just names. They're names of people. They
Okay.
look like they're spelled weirdly, and that's about all you could tell.
Okay, can I make out some names?
Sure. Yeah. Give me a second.
Or do I think this is important? Should I make note of it? Like, or is it just, are they
It's
wanted?
clearly important to the establishment, and at the top it says guides, like guides for hire, basically.
Oh, okay.
But it includes the name Azaka Stormfang. It includes the name Musharib. That's separate from Azaka. It includes the name Kwawasha and Kupalue. I believe that's it. Oh, and it probably includes Tatsy as well. I think that's probably true there, Charles.
Patsy?
Tatsy, yeah.
Well, it's kind of true, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
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 I did throw my hat in the ring there and would have had probably would have put a notice up there, but he's still contemplating the night's events and the earlier employment setting.
Situation, yeah. So, you, Makahalu, and Tetsi wake up at the House of Repose. It was a night of drinking, if you recall the previous night. Maybe it was Makahutli's intention to sleep at his other location. And Wolf's like you feel like you remember getting there, but when you wake up, you aren't there. uh, you're like, huh. And you have a bad hangover. um, so you're currently muted, just so you know, Chris. And so you two are down in the main area. You can also see that Azaka is there, and we'll say the albino dwarf who is also there, who Tetsi knows is Musharib. So.
Oh, not the guy with the Vegapygmies.
No, they either headed out earlier or haven't awoken. You're not sure.
Alrighty.
All right, so wake up. As soon as I wake up, I check to see if my stuff is still around. Because when I wake up in a weird hotel, I'm like, oh no, where's my kidney?
There's no stitchings implying a kidney theft, and there's nothing nothing of yours that has been taken. It looks like it was just kind of dropped all next to the side of the bed.
All right, so I guess I'll get up, like wash up a little bit, and head down and do like my morning constitutional.
Seems good. Seems good. Yeah. So you head down. As you guys head down, you immediately notice the person who's definitely not from around here, the Minotaur, who has entered in and looks like they're looking for somebody, but clearly they don't know who.
Tatsy would kind of whisper, "Someone left the gate open at the stockyard."
Suddenly the cow speaks. I seek the guide, I bellow out. Tatsky.
When you say the guide, 3 different people look at you. And then when you say Tatsy, 2 of them look away. You believe the last one is probably Tatsy.
And it does say here I can read and write. Comment.
That's fair.
But Tatsy would look at I'm going to butcher that every time. Yeah, I'm going to butcher it everything. I got to come up with something that's going to fit. Macho Bird.
Mac.
And he's going to say, have this wondering look like, this guy is looking for me. And what Tatsy will do is he'll kind of give a slow wave and then step off to the side of the stairs coming down.
From what I know of Tatsy, a weird bull creature comes in looking for him. So I imagine that like he's probably owes him money and he's trying to kill him. So I like to step away and act like I don't know him.
I don't know who this guy is. Exactly, yeah. Seems good.
Hey, his 7'7" frame lumbers toward you, and he's got large yellow eyes, and one horn is chopped off halfway, and the other one curves viciously forward. He leans down, extending his large arms, which you are thankful to see are human-like, with large nails, but in a gesture, as he expects a handshake of some sort, but it's a little different. This one's higher. I am Goth Steelhoof of the sailing clan Goth Muck, and I'm on a quest to lift some curse from this city, and they're going to pay me.
And,
are you guide?
If I'm paid, I am, Tatsy would say. I can be. Right now, I'm sort of employed to kind of make a map of some temples.
Ah, sounds like we may have some business together.
But
do you know nothing of this curse?
Curse? I've heard of a lot of curses. Is that what happened to you?
So I'm gonna pause
puzzled
here real quick. Obviously, that's a great line. Love it. Both Tatsy and Makahutli are very aware of the death curse. It's common.
Oh yeah, but he is.
You bring up the real curse, being turned into a half bull. Perfect. Love it.
And Goth's mind is trying to get around that a bit and wondering if he's been insulted or if he's complimented, but I'm not on the death curse. Not me. It's the city.
The city? What curse is on the city? I know the land has a curse. It's a powerful curse, but it's all legend.
I only think in cities. I'm a sailor. Are you searching for this curse, a cure in your maps? Are these your comrades? And he looks at the other two.
The woman with tattoos on her face and shoulders kind of motions and says, I am the guide for Makahutli. We have plans to travel further in, both for our own reasons.
Do you
If
know
you
of
wish,
this
if you
death
wish to
cult
assist,
curse?
she kind of says, I have heard of it. I don't know why you. It is just. It is everywhere, is it not?
Goth shrugs. As long as it's a curse I'm supposed to cure, it matters not to me.
Well, I have heard of the death curse, yes. And if you wish to travel in the jungles of Chult, you'd do well to find both a guide and to be prepared with equipment. It's not safe, even for someone of your intimidating presence. If you wish to assist us with our matters, then there might be an opening for us to assist you with yours.
That is good, because I do not have money.
You don't. I'll tell you what I'll do, Taz is saying. I'll hire you to be my bodyguard.
But I am on a quest at the moment.
Well, as long as you're willing to be my bodyguard, maybe both your indentured servitude to whatever demon that created you would coincide with my map making of certain temples and holy places, which may have inspiration or keys to the said curse that has befell you and encapsulated your intent of purpose.
Well, as a second mate's ship of the line, my daily rate would be about 40 gold pieces.
Okay, so I'm going to pause here real quick. Average trained professionals tend to ask for 2 gold pieces per day. Now, you might not know that, so you can say 40, but I'm just bringing it up. That's way off.
Well, that's all right. We can roll with.
I'm sure we can. I just want to make sure that if you have like proficiency in thinking in any way, you will have determined.
And Taz will counter that and says, for a beastie like you that's in a foreign land under such a devilish obligation and somewhat at ends with their means, I think I could give you my special rate of a gold piece a day.
I look confused as I try to get the math through my head. So, 1 a day. Well, if you supply wine and food, equipment, travel expenses, and everything. Do you have a ship?
No, this is land. We're walking. Stout limbs. Don't you see me? We're of a stout breed. Good blood. Pure blood.
I suppose that's a fair deal. Done.
All right.
Azaka scoffs when you say pure blood.
I thought it was a nice little
it was perfect.
Easter egg.
So Azaka kind of turns to Makahutli at this point and says, "I believe we had an appointment somewhere with the priest. Unless you plan on asking these people to join us."
I do not think they do not look like the type to be very religious. As I look at Tatsi, and I kind of like I sit there and I look at the Minotaur and I be like, I nod to him and I say, "Good luck."
All right, sounds good.
And I said, "Excuse me, I must go make devotion. I have a what was the name of the priest? Sethris, I think, or something.
The name of the priest
Savak,
was, as soon as
or
I
the name of
find
the
it,
god.
the name of the god. Hold on, let me just.
Septus.
Okay. This is okay. The name of the god is Savris. The name of the priest was Zitembe.
All right, so I shall go. I have an appointment at the Temple of Savris. I shall, and then I will allow you to go on your way. As I have a most important mission ahead of me. Good day to you.
All right.
I'll head off.
All right. So those two head off.
Okay.
And a reminder for you as well, Charles. You also had an appointment, but with somebody else. I can't remember who it was.
And Tatsi would say, "Let me finish my morning drink here." And he's looking about for a cup of rare drink that invigorates and smells like it was made by the gods. Waitress, don't you have any coffee?
Do they have coffee? I'm just gonna roll a check. I don't know. Seems like the kind of place they might. Yeah, they do. They say yes. Want a mug?
I'm somewhat in a hurry, so if I can just have a short glass of it, I'll be appreciative of that.
She says 2 copper. And then
No, and Tatsi is saying, "No, you took enough last night."
she hands the coffee, puts the coffee down, and then says, "Fair enough."
And he'll drink down the coffee. And Tatsi's true intent is to get a little bit of coffee, but is to allow them enough time to get ahead so that it doesn't seem like they're being followed per se.
All right, sounds good. So then you two head off. Is that right, Darren?
I just know Tatsi's around when like somebody gets in a fight and like, oh, I've got poison in my face.
Poison in my face. Yeah, exactly.
So I have one more question while they're gone.
Yes.
What is the soulmonger?
As myth has it, it is a curse of the cursed, is that it's eating the souls of those that have been revivified, brought back by said magical means. It's devouring them and their souls, so they're dying. If you could say that, they died once. What's another time? Who knows? But it's claimed that once that soulmonger gets a hold of you, that you're done for forever, lost to the maelstroms, lost to the deities, lost worse than wandering along the banks of the Styx. But that's only myth. Mothers tell that to the young little eggs just to make sure that they rest well.
Where do I find it?
That is the question. And we'll have to do a little bit of research. But I'm sure some of these temples will have clues.
Is that where we were going to find out? Are you on the same quest as I?
I am a man of knowledge. And I'm looking for certain aspects of knowledge of an ancient myth that talks of immortality of a sense. So we may trip across information on this quest from that.
Well, we may fit well together then, because this is my knowledge and I flex a massive bicep.
Okay. Good. And Tatsy,
lead us to this temple. Let's do this.
Tatsy will go ahead, and this will be for guarantee and seal our deal. Here's a gold piece for you.
Excellent.
And
I have one gold piece.
Woohoo!
And then we'll let's go. I have a gentleman that has certain requirements and knowledge that may be beneficial. And let's go and meet with him. And my intent is, as soon as we get out of the tavern inn, is to look up when stepping out on the stoop to see if I can see Macho Birdman and his ill-gotten wafer guide of
ill-gotten. Yes. Sure. Agreed. Yeah, you they're not hiding it. They're not hiding their movement. There is a little bit of time, so there's like a moment where you have to kind of where are they? Oh, okay, there they are. Kind of thing. But they're heading in the direction, and you know that direction, so there's no issue there.
So Tatsy will go ahead and head off that direction and say, "Goth, this way," and try to be inconspicuous. Don't cause any stirs. It just would not be good to have unwanting eyes upon our travels. And Tatsy will say that and attempt to stay about 40 feet behind Macho Bird.
Yep, Macho Bird. Seems good. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So can I get a roll from you, Chris? I would like you to roll a D100. If you roll 1 to 50, there will be an event of one kind. If you roll 51 to 100, there'll be an event of a different kind. And then whether it's good or bad, I'll have you have Charles. Well, you roll a D100. 1 through 50 is bad. 51 through 100 is good.
All right, you want me to roll a D100?
That's right.
Okay. I'll get that out of the way. And that's a 76.
All right. And what did you roll, Chris?
I got a 27.
27. All right. So Darren, can I have you roll a D10 as to which event happens?
Sure. I rolled a 9.
9. All right.
9-9. Nick's good.
I'll be back in less than a minute. Hold on.
Sounds good. All right. So, Chris, Makahutli and Zaka are traveling toward the temple, and at some point along the way, I believe it'd be pretty close to the temple. Actually, let me double check this on the map. No, it was not. Where is it? Hold up. Sorry, one sec. Oh, it's there. That's where it is. All right. Yeah, so it'd be very close to the temple. Basically, you're heading around the docks to head up, kind of along the path that leads up to the Temple of Savras. And partway there, you are stopped by a desperate-looking man, a Chultan man. He kind of grabs, just grabs a hold of your shoulders, and says, he says, please, sir, listen to me. I need your help. And says, I'm willing to pay you let's say, Draza, my husband. He's been sentenced to be executed, and I need your help. I desperately need your help.
So this man's husband's being executed?
Yeah.
Oh. Looking at me like, oh, well, who is, what is he being executed for? What is this? Sounds like a matter of the law.
He says, he did nothing. He did nothing at all. He was just, they thought he was one person when he wasn't that person. It was just his identity was mistaken, and now he's been sentenced without proper hearing or trial. He's just going to be sent to be killed. I'll pay you. I can give you all my life savings. And he kind of reaches into his pocket and he gives you what looks. He's holding out like what looks to be like a reasonably hefty looking bag of coin. You can hear it clinking. And he says, I just need you to go help him. Just go to Executioner's Run. Help him from the side so he survives. You have to be quick though. I don't know when they're going to send him in.
I'd look at him and I'd be like, what's my business? And I have an important now, but I will help you with your problem. But you must, but at some time in the future, I shall come upon and call all true sons of Cholt for a favor.
He nods vigorously. Yeah, yes, of course.
Like, yes, the glorious revolution will come soon.
And he kind of takes your wrist and puts the coin in your hand, and he says,
"All right, how much coin is it? Is it like a bunch of? Is it like a thing of copper? I guess I'll go.
Like you stop and like open it up, because he's like trying to drag you.
Well, I mean, he can try.
I mean,
if
you don't want him to drag you, you don't have to let him to drag you. But he is attempting to drag you.
I'll open it up and look in it to see if it's not like something incriminating, because I've seen this sort of trick before.
Yes. It does not seem to be anything incriminating in the classic sense. It is coin. However, it is while it is sizable, maybe 20 to 30, it is all in silver.
All right. I guess I'll follow him because it's hard work being a hero of the people.
Really is. So Charles and Darren, your two characters, notice as you are following this person, like your plan was to veer off and do your own thing, of course, while keeping an eye on them. But they get accosted for a moment and almost immediately and handed something, looks like money, and almost immediately those three, including Azak, actually, let me roll this real quick. Okay. What is her website? Her alignment. Good. Okay. Yeah. She follows you, Makahutli, but she seems on edge, probably as much you are. Like something weird. Like, yeah. And actually, as you're led not too far a distance, you're being led toward the gatehouse that would leave the town proper, which you know is just outside is Executioner's Run, which is where they try criminals effectively. And on the way there, she kind of whispers to Mako and says, interfering with an execution like this is probably going to get us in trouble. Like, innocent or not. But she's following you, but like she seems upset in the sense of like in multiple ways. And so Charles and Darren, I need to know whether your characters follow them after being accosted by this man and veering off their original destination, or what looks to be like their original destination.
Goth merely shrugs, glancing at his boss.
Right. Says, well, we do have a meeting to make, but and I do know I have had cups with the funny bird like man.
Sounds like a lot of trouble to me, but you're the boss.
Let's walk up close enough so we can hear maybe what's going on, so we can maybe make a solid and knowledgeable judgment on this.
Yeah. So you guys kind of catch up a little bit around the time where they would be leaving the main town area. You also start catching up to them. You're now maybe within 30 feet of them.
Okay, it's still a little bit too far for me to do what I wanted, but still.
Well, so you if you want to, basically you're at a point here where you can just kind of just get close enough to do something.
Well, to Tatsi's surprise, he notices Goth moves with a dainty tiptoe-like grace because of his time on ships. He actually has good stealth. It's one of his proficiencies.
That's good.
He's 590 pounds, 7'7", but
and
moves like a ballerina if he has to.
But if I'd like to try to get 10 feet within 10 feet of the guy that seems to be harassing them.
Sure. I'm fine with that. If you are trying to do it in a way so that they won't notice, that's a stealth check.
Okay, then I'll do a stealth check.
All right. And just because, why not?
You're gonna end up murdered.
Yeah, you can roll perception.
All right. Yeah.
I'll roll for the other two NPCs.
Let's see here.
Lol. Let's see. Let's see. Wow.
And stealth. Okay. So that's a 5 on to that. So
Yeah, just straight advantage. Okay.
22.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's pretty good. Neither Azaka nor the other person seems to know this.
And I'll just mumble a word kind of under my breath and spew out a fog or a spray towards the guy that is harassing.
Okay.
I told you he was gonna murder him.
I'm not. I didn't say he wouldn't. So this person. Let's see here. First of all, that okay. I'm assuming your DC is higher than 8.
Yeah, it's a spell DC of 12.
Okay. So this guy is in the middle of saying, "Thank you so much, sir. I will help you whatever I can. My name is Bellum," and then he kind of goes, roll damage,
10 points.
and falls unconscious. Like he grasps his throat for a moment. It stops from dragging your arm, and then he grasps his throat, and he falls. As he's on the ground coughing, you can see like he's in some sort of bad shape, and he says, "Say draws that," and then just collapses.
And
Wow.
Tatsi will just kind of sweep in on that 10 foot and just keep on moving towards his meeting with Gaz.
So you just turn back around.
I think I would have saw like when he did the attack. You can't attack from stealth.
You can attack from stealth. That is something you can do. However, there was an attack that definitely just occurred. So let's.
I got a 17 to notice like people. So
Yeah, and Azaka did pretty well too. It's just that his stealth is so good. Actually, here's a question though. Darren, can you roll stealth check for me?
Yeah, I anticipated that. It's just normal roll. I got a 15.
Okay, so you see this guy drop, and you're like, you look and you kind of go, what just happened? Poison? And then you look around and you see a surprisingly well hidden, but still you see him, Minotaur, who is some distance away, like 40 feet away or so. But like you can make whatever assumptions you want to with the Minotaur having followed you up to this point.
I look around and I go, I think I've actually I can't remember if I saw Tatsi do. I know I've seen him do this once before in the bar to like freaking what's her name, right? Azaka.
He never attempted to poison Azaka. No.
No, like when they got in a fight, he like spit in her face with the poison attack.
No, they never got into a fight that would have caused damage.
We got into an argument, but we didn't really.
Yeah, no damage was caused. Oh no, that's right. She did punch him, didn't he?
Yeah, she punched me, but she knocked me down.
And then he spit back in her face.
Did you spit in her face first? I feel like you did, but I don't think you did damage with that.
No, I didn't do the cantrip.
Yeah, so yeah, you haven't seen Tatsi do any of the poison stuff. So.
I guess I'll try to stabilize the guy if I can. Whatever.
Sure. Yeah. You can roll medicine check. Actually, as you kind of are like looking around, looking for whoever did that, Azaka is already attempting to start to stabilize him. Let's see if she does it.
I'm like, it is magic. The sorcerers are turning against us.
Yeah. So what she
Even though
does,
even though I think attacking, like doing a spell, takes her out of stealth, but I don't.
attacking a person or casting a spell on a target causes that person to notice exactly where you are. But because he attacked from stealth and didn't attack you, you only know that somebody did something. You know that somebody is attacking. Honestly, you'd be in initiative right now, so I'm okay with rolling for initiative here, if you'd like. But I mean, yeah. Actually, honestly, there should be another stealth and perception rolls. So Charles, go ahead and roll another stealth check for me.
Okay.
But I see this Minotaur, and I'm like, oh, the Minotaur was working for Tatsi. So
Right.
either way,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
you
be
can make that
suspicious of him
assumption.
from now
That's
on.
not a yeah. And you do notice Minotaur with the first check.
17 still on that one.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
It looks like Azaka's distracted with helping this guy, which I will get to in a moment. It's actually kind of funny what happens there.
I got a 13, so I don't know. I wait for, and sit down and be like, "Oh, you take care of him. I shall go to this place of execution."
All right.
Beware, there was a somebody around here, and being a jungle native, I will just assume that somebody used a blowgun on him.
Yeah, and that's probably a fair assumption. She's probably doing a similar thing where she's checking for like some sort of injury like that. But then like the next thing that she does is she takes like a small knife and doesn't do a deep cut, but does a thin cut along his throat. And you notice that the swelling that has gone there starts going down. And with that, along with what looks to be like some sort of ointment she's putting on him, he actually wakes up. Her medicine check was so good, he gained a life point back.
Great.
Oh, she
stabilized him instantly. So
right,
like
so
she like knew
I'll
exactly
let
what
her
to do.
tend to him.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh yeah."
Poison. She
Looks
says
like I
poison.
chose the
I've
right
seen it
guide.
before.
Looks like I chose the better guide there, Tonsi.
Maybe.
It could be.
So
I guess I will says you take care of him. I shall go to the place
She
and
nods.
stop this great travesty of misjustice.
Yes. So you make your way to Executioner's Run, which is a road. So there's a road that leads through the old city that splits around a rectangular stone-laced lined pit, 15 feet deep, 50 feet wide, and 200 feet long. It used to be an arena for a ball game, and still sometimes is. But when people are convicted criminals to be killed, they're dropped in at one end, and anybody who makes it through a gauntlet of carnivores to the far end of the pit can actually climb up these knotted ropes and live. Like the execution is, if they survive this, they're fine. And spectators often line these things for these spectacles from every level of Port Nanzaru society. Bets are placed, which will die, how far they'll get, how many kills each animal will rack up, etc. There's even some Chultans who become celebrities by surviving multiple dashes through this thing. And some people will continue to commit crimes specifically so they can get tossed into the pit.
Adrenaline junkies.
Exactly. And sometimes animals escape, and if that happens, you can attack them.
They turn on the crowd.
They turn on the crowd, and in those cases, any people who would protect the civilians would almost certainly be considered
This
heroes.
is exactly the sort of thing, which is why Makahuitli does not support the Omnian government.
Yeah, exactly. In this particular case, what you notice is that his run is actually surprisingly easy, quote unquote, in that there isn't a lot of creatures. Often there's many of them. But this guy with no armor, no equipment, you can see has basically been lowered down onto one side. He's like clutching onto the rope, and they have to they just toss the rope in with him, right? Like they lower him down on the rope, and he's holding onto the rope, and then they just let it go, and he's like,
how deep is the thing?
the 15 feet deep.
Okay, that's
And
nothing.
yeah, it's not too deep. It's just tough to climb out because it's sheer, basically. And down in the pit are 2 velociraptors. So you head up to this location to figure out what's going on, and you can see this guy is being lowered down. Maybe matching something of the description that the guy who paid you, Bellum, mentioned. And
It's too bad we can't just ask him, is that the guy?
Yeah, he's dead.
For no reason.
Well, yeah, exactly. You're not sure, but it looks so close. Hopefully, that's the right person. And
I shall call out the name that she said what his name was.
the name that he said was Draza. That was the person that he was saving. But they don't.
I call out.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So the guy has been lowered down, and there's 2 velociraptors in this pit.
I call out is Draza.
And roll a Constitution check, because there is a crowd who is cheering of various things. A perception check would also be acceptable, but I want the Constitution check first.
Okay, just a second here. Got it. 21.
This crowd, there's cheering of this crowd and whatever, and you just go, Draza! And just this huge, loud shout, and some people nearby are like, whoa. And he kind of looks up at you, and he looks kind of like he doesn't recognize you, but he definitely heard you say the name. Roll initiative.
Okay.
I will roll for Draza and 2. Oh, Draza is so bad. Initiative is the worst. Can I get initiative from the rest of the players as well, in case you want to participate?
Gothgod's 13.14.
All right, so we have a 13 for Minotaur.
And let's see here. Tazi, the initiative would be a 15.
All right, 15.
I got a 17.
17. All right.
Because I'm a fast little dude.
You are. Think. All right. Hold up. I need to. I'm probably going to need to ask for those numbers in a moment. I'll just do again. I'll do this one. There we go. All right. So, Makahutli was 17. Is that right?
Yeah. I rolled a 14.
All right. And Darren the Minotaur was 13?
Right.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right. And then Charles, your character was
15.
15. All right. And the other person was a crit fail. And the Velociraptors were a team. Okay. So the first act are the Velociraptors. They will.
Too bad he's dead.
Too bad he's dead already. They will spend their actions to dash 60 feet because it is quite a distance on this thing. He was not dropped right next to them, but now they are next to them. Actually, no. I'm going to say they are 30 feet away from him, 25 feet away from him at this point. So they will get there next round. It is now Makahutli's turn. You are next to this edge
Okay,
of this
so
this place.
so
And
where I'm going, can I jump down into it to be in between them?
you can.
And would I be able to with my
Actually, what's your movement?
It's 30 right now, I believe.
Okay. You can jump down and get in between them with your 30 feet of movement.
Can I if I like jump and like attack as part of the jump, basically like jump down with my axe and bring it down on top of them, can I do that?
You can. That's going to require a athletics check.
Oh, well, I just so happen to be not only trained, but also I believe I get advantage on that.
You're raging first, then.
Yes.
That makes sense. All right. Yeah. Love it. Go for it.
Okay, so let's do athletics with advantage. I don't add my rage bonus to that, do I?
To the damage if you hit, but not to the jump.
Okay. So let's roll here.
Let's see here. Can I?
All right, so that is an 18 is the higher one.
Okay. 1 second. Let me double check how jumping works. 18, pretty good though. Long jump. I'll say you have 10 feet because the crowd kind of moved away from you when you shouted. And your strength score is what?
It is 14.
14. All right.
Actually, wait a second. If I add I forgot I get my proficiency bonus on that because I'm trained. So that would be 20 then.
Okay.
For the athletics.
All right. So you do a running jump. You take a few steps back, charge, and jump. You get something like 5 feet higher than the flat ground so that you can get this distance and jump almost 20 feet forward into this pit, bringing you within range to attack one of these velociraptors. So go ahead and make that attack roll. It should be with advantage, and if you have reckless, that's why it has advantage.
Okay.
Like, you have advantage because you're being reckless, and no other reason.
Yes, gotta love it. A human
22.
sacrifice.
All right, so 22 will hit this velociraptor. Being 20 feet in the air, I would like an athletics check from you, or no, sorry, an acrobatics check from you to drop safely.
Okay. That's dexterity, so I don't get advantage.
Spread your wings.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if I was 12th level, I could totally just fly. Okay, 17.
All right. So you jump, and now I would like you to roll damage, the normal damage you would normally do, plus an additional 2d6.
Okay.
If you do not kill this thing, I will be so surprised.
It's a dinosaur. They're supposed to be hardy.
It's a hardy creature, but it's not a fall on you with an axe hardy creature.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, I do 19 total.
All right. You chop its head off, period. Like, it's not even like, oh, it went kind of in. No, you put all the force of your fall into this axe, and it goes all the way through it. It's just like chunk. gone.
All right, so
Lands and
as a
you
free,
take, so you land and you take 1 damage from the jump.
all right, and as a free action, just for total thing, I'm gonna can I just reach down when I chop its head off, pull the blood with my fingers and swipe it down both my cheeks.
Yep. You do so.
Okay.
You see the crowd goes crazy. All right. Next in initiative is your turn, Charles.
Tatsy is say looking at this and hearing the roars and the jeers and the cheers. He'll turn to Goth and say, these young primitive races, the barbaric nature that they have. We have a meeting with the merchant prince. Let's go.
I just say that these young barbaric races. I just say that to a Minotaur barbarian.
Exactly. Yep.
Goth shrugs again. It's a strange city, he mutters. Lead us to this merchant prince, then.
All right.
You see that guy die back there?
It was just a human.
True that.
Oh my god.
Shrugs again. Lead on, boss.
All right. So you two make your way up, and actually, interestingly, Darren, Goth notices that you had basically gone across to the CAIUS house of repose where they were staying at. Sometime in the morning, basically, and now they are coming back, basically almost to the same place where you just left from. It's like they're going up the ramp that leads up to one of these nicer houses, and so you kind of are. I mean, you'd be you're wondering. I wonder if Sylvain is the merchant prince we're going to talk to, or something.
Right.
I
have an uncanny sense of the trails.
Right. Yeah. This is. You didn't need Minotaur level of knowledge to do this. You're just. Okay. Yeah.
Hey, I'm just glad my kamikaze attack worked.
It worked great. It worked super good. All right, so you two are gone out of this initiative order. The Velociraptor's turn. The Velociraptor, singular, turns on Makahutli and attempts to attack. Yeah, 2 attacks. One bite, one with its claws. Does a 20 hit?
Yeah.
All right, and does an 8 hit?
Nope.
All right, it comes down on you with its teeth and tries to scratch at you with its forearms, but you kind of catch the forearms with your weapon. As it bites down on you, though, it gets maybe a part of your shoulder or bicep, and you take 5 points of piercing damage. Reduced by half because of rage.
So 3.
2. Let's run it down.
Okay. 2?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now it is, I guess, my turn again, or is somebody else going to do anything?
It is your turn.
All right, so I shall pull out my other axe.
Apologies. The guy, Draza, he looks like he was about to start running to try to get to the other side. And then just stops short when you just chop the head off of one of these things and goes, and just is agape. That's his turn. Now it's your turn.
All right, so I pull out my other axe and I use my bonus action to take 2 attacks.
I love it.
With,
Go for it.
with dual wielding, so.
Mm-hmm.
18 for the first one and 24 for the second.
Roll damage for both.
All right. That's 2d8 plus 7 altogether because you don't add your strength to the second attack, right?
That's correct.
Okay. 17.
17 total damage.
Yeah. It's 8 and a 2, and then I add.
Yeah, you bring the first axe down. This thing is just it's still standing, but heavily injured. You bring the second axe down. You finish the job. Yep. It's a done. It's a dealt with. It's a Mario. No. So yeah, you defeat this creature. And you can hear that many of the shouts are like, "Woo! Awesome!" And then some of the shouts are like, "Boo! You're saving a criminal, you know that?" And then as you kind of look up, can I get your perception check from you?
Okay. I got a 2. Perception check. So I don't see anything.
Yeah, so there's a lot of shouts happening. As far as you can tell, they don't have anything else planned for you guys to fight. So you can just walk with Draza, who does not walk. He makes a very quick jog to the other side in case there's a concern here. And he starts climbing up the rope, but nothing harasses you down there. You also make it up the rope, no concern. Rage is ended. Nothing to attack or anything. However, once
no, I go berserk and I have to attack him.
You don't have to attack him, no. And if you did, you almost certainly kill him instantly. So, you know, you're way too strong. But anyway, so you two make it up without much concern. But once you get up there, you can see there's a number of people in the crowd who are very unhappy with you. And one of the, what looks to be, actually, sorry, 2 guards are there, and they point at you, and they say, "You're coming with us."
Why? It is not illegal to jump in the pit?
It is.
Prove it!
So we shall. And they start, one behind you, one in front of you, leading you to the courtrooms.
I'm like, I am innocent.
I am innocent of totally not jumping into that pit.
Yeah, well, it's the law is if he survives going through the pit, then he gets to go free, right?
For you. But yes, yeah, you say that, and they say, "Oh, don't worry. If we send you in the pit, it will be a much tougher challenge. You'll be lucky to be sent to the pit."
I laugh at your injustice, at your foreign justice.
Interesting side note: these guards actually are not Chultans. So when you say foreign, they're kind of like, "Yep, yeah, that makes sense," but they don't really care. Let's see. It would be, so they lead you up in kind of the direction you were originally going to go. Azaka kind of notices you and starts following. You notice that Bellum also notices you, and he kind of comes up to you and he says, "Is Draza okay?"
Who?
And he just kind of like shakes his head and then starts running to the toward the where the executioner's room is. So Zaka starts following you a bit of a distance. She doesn't want to interfere if it's not appropriate, but like she also wants to know what's happening with you. And they lead you past the temple and they lead you up in that direction. They actually lead you to one of the nice manors. Actually, did they lead you to the golden?
I don't know.
Yeah.
To the purple worm.
No, this is probably. Yeah. No, yeah. So they lead you to the place known as where is it? The Grand Soul, I believe. Nope, the Golden Throne. Sorry, that's what it's called. And let's see here. They basically take you into a jail cell and say, "Give us your weapons."
Like, I have no weapons.
The axes and the
What?
shield.
Why? What am I under arrest for?
For interfering with the execution of one Draza.
Why was he being executed?
In execution.
What did he do? What did he do? What are your crimes?
They
I was appointed as his adjudicator.
Yeah, and they say, "Well, we'll see."
I was hired to adjudicate his case.
Hand us your weapons, or be treated in contempt of the city.
I'd laugh at the contempt of the city.
Roll initiative.
But I'll give Is this like an actual courthouse or?
They brought you into Golden Throne, which is the place where the merchant princes adjudicate things, and then they brought you to kind of a side area, which included jail cells. Like, this seems about as legit as it gets.
I guess I'll give up my weapons for now, but I'll keep. But if just ask for those I'm carrying, I'll keep the dagger I have hidden in my boot.
Okay, that's fine. They give a shield. Like, does your character carry a shield?
No.
Okay. Then they take your axes, and then the other one takes your axes, and then the other one looks at the coin purse you're carrying and takes that.
Hey, wait! That is not for you.
And it clearly won't be for you, and not in this jail cell. And they close it. Lock it. We'll wait for one of these princes to decide what they want to do with you.
I spit upon your prince.
They laugh.
Okay, that's it. End of campaign. Gotcha.
End of campaign. You're done. No. Let's see here. So two of them show up. What are the two? Was the second and the fifth. And oh wow, you got lucky as shit. Okay. All right. Let's see which one arrives first and that sort of thing. What? Okay. Whatever. Fine. All right, we'll go with the other group first. They clearly get to whatever they're doing with first. So Charles and Darren, you two head over to the person you spoke with yesterday, Charles.
Yeah, the
That
representative for the Merchant Prince Jabal.
Jabal, yes. The guy's name is Azon. And as you kind of come up and ask for him, a little while later, Azon comes back, and he kind of looks and he goes, "Ah, yes, one moment." And he kind of makes he whispers to one of the servants, and they head off. And he says, "So, have you found this group that's heading deep into the jungle yet?"
Well, yes, yes, I have, and there's some minor issues with them, and I was wondering now to facilitate maybe getting Jabal's desires done. Could I get a sealed letter of authority to help us pass through the city and pass through some bureaucracies that are minor, and maybe proclaim his name and facilitate things in the jungle out there while we're searching?
He seems to consider this, and he says, "What bureaucracies do you speak of? What is hindering your progress?"
Well, right now, I believe there's a gentleman that's trying to commit suicide and disturb the peace outside the city gates there, and then there's this other individual from the bar, this Zakara, Zaza, whatever she calls her name this week, that I think may be leading some of the members astray. But there again, just in case I need to have authority, authorized authority in a position as representing the merchant prince in a dispute on outside of the gates and such there, just in case it comes up there, so I can go ahead and install the desires of Jabal.
He considers this for a moment, and he says, "Go ahead and roll a deception check for me."
Okay. Oh, baby, I love it. That's a good dice. Good dice. Whoop, whoop. That's a 22.
Oh, dang, that's a good roll.
Yeah.
He kind of considers this, and he says, "I think I can do something for you. Yes. As you probably already know, he kind of looks at the Minotaur, and he kind of leans in so that both of you can clearly hear him, but so that other people cannot, conspiratorially, right? He says, in the jungle, it's the strong and the cunning who make their success. The word of Jabal, the name of Jabal, will likely not take you very far."
Well, and Patsy will say, you are correct. But however, if there's an issue with citizens from the city, even outside of that, Jabal's name carries weight and authority with them. So they would be wise to stand with Jabal instead of without, even though they're outside of the city, just as a peaceful, controlling measure that Jabal may appreciate.
he kind of nods and he he says, "Well, that is certainly true. You convinced me. One moment," and then he heads back inside. A little while later, he comes out with kind of rolled up piece of paper, red twine, and a seal, wax seal stamped on it, as well as it would be probably a wooden pendant that looks like it has been carved into with some skill, but definitely with some haste as well. And basically, it has some sigil on it, and on the back, it basically has in some sort of inked writing the name Jabal. And he hands both of these things to Tatsi and says, "These should suffice. This is the charter that was offered yesterday, and this is the this medallion should help you with any of your problems." And then he turns to the Minotaur and says, "I don't think I've met you or any of your kind before. Do you speak?"
Of course.
He holds a hand out and he says, "I am Azon Talieri," and it looks just to be like a human male.
Goth Steelhoof. And I grasp his wrist in sailor fashion.
Yeah, and he clearly you have the advantage of grip here. He's some sort of noble's person, and but he gives you a firm handshake, and he kind of nods, and he says, "I appreciate your assistance in these matters. I hope you will continue to work with Tatsi. He is an excellent map maker, and I hope we can prove that both we can trust him and you."
Goth shrugs again, with a tongue darts into his nostril. As long as I get paid.
He nods and says, "Well, all treasures found in the jungles of Cholt, upon returning through the gates of Port Nanzaru, are of course subject to their usual tariffs, but whatever else you find is yours to keep. Yours and Tatsi's, at least, and anybody else you find."
He snorts again. Now, what say you? What can you tell me about this death curse? I know already that it is something to do with some schmuck's souls being sucked up.
He
But I
kind of
need
nods.
something.
He says, "Well, the death curse is something that takes a hold of people who have been resurrected, as it seems like you have heard, but it also prevents those from who have died from being resurrected. This curse has been going on for some time now, and while there is no clear evidence of where it comes from, if you believe that you can find it here in Schult, then all best of luck to you.
Do you have any rum?
We have something better." And he kind of makes a motion with one of the servants, and they head off for but a moment, and they return with this. They return with 3 mugs of this kind of amber-colored drink. You can smell the fermentation coming off of it. And and the servant kind of holds it up, and he hands one mug to Tatsy and two mugs to you. And he says, "Try it. It's Tej. It's made from honey."
Snort. Honey, you say? I
He nods.
pound them both like a junior college kid.
Exactly. The snout is optimally shaped for double pounding. And
I brought my own funnel.
yeah, exactly. And as you drink it, it is actually really good. Assuming you like alcohol, your character likes alcohol and sweet things.
Well, he's probably got one taste bud, but it seems to appeal.
Yeah, the sugar and meat taste bud.
One more question for you. You, very generous man.
I try to be.
Where can we find the monger?
This monger. I do not know what you're speaking.
Soulmonger.
Soulmonger. He shakes his head and he says, "Trust me, if I knew, I'd tell you, but I do not know what you speak of."
Fair enough.
The motion goes to take the mugs back from you.
Do I perceive anything? I look at him keenly, but
Sure. Roll perception.
as keenly as a cow can look at one.
Hey, you got two eyes.
Oh, drat, I wish I had advantage. I got a 5.
No, is the answer to that question. He looks like a human from. I think he actually. He quite a bit more pale than people here, although definitely tanned. And he's dressed well. He seems like an important servant to probably, or perhaps he's dressed well enough that he could be one of these merchant princes, but you know, dressed for travel.
Well, boss.
Well, and
Where's
Tatsy will finish up the drink.
Yep.
And turn to Azan and ask one last thing. If someone did commit a crime, disturb the peace or something like that, maybe interfered with certain rules of acquisition and profit, where would they be taken?
He kind of considers this and he says, "Well, they would probably first be taken to the prisons in Golden Throne."
Can you, from here, how do I get there?
He kind of makes a motion and he kind of looks out. Let's see, where is in relation to those places? He was there. Golden Throne was there. Yeah, he kind of just points out toward this long bridge that that you cross to get to this manor, and out there he just pointed at like this big building. It looks opulent. It has the grandeur of many of these villas and the temples, and you can see 8 guards are on duty around it. And he just points. He says that.
Thank you. And we will accomplish these maps and such for you, and for the prince. So don't worry. But I do think we have a critical element we have to pick on up for this, and so I don't mean to be rude, like some can be. I know the younger races are such, and younger folk. But I asked for your leave, and I need to see about a matter there at the Golden Throne.
He says to attend to business, it's never offensive. And he shoos you off and heads inside.
Okay, and Taz will say, "Goth, come on, let's go."
Okay.
I think we might. There may be a need we may be able to assist with.
So you head back across the bridge, and you probably notice Azaka heading into the Golden Throne entrance. Probably being stopped by the guards, actually, but she looks like she's talking to them. And then they let her in.
Okay, and Taz and will walk on up to the guards and say, "That was."
What
Go
is
ahead.
your business?
Well, we're on the business of Prince Jabal, and just a quick question. I know that you guys are rather studious and aware of so much. Did they bring in some crazy looking bird man?
Yes.
Prince Jabal needs him for a task, and I'm here to collect him. And I'll show the charter and I'll show the medallion seal.
So you show them the charter, and they look at it and they say, "This is for the Fire Fist." And then you show them the medallion, and they kind of look at each other and they go, "You may speak to him. We will need to wait for the rulings of one of the merchant princes before he can be freed, but you may speak to him." And so you are headed in, and so Chris, your character is put into jail. Your stuff is taken. So your stuff is taken. You're kind of waiting there, and about 3 minutes later, I'm assuming Tatsi shows up there. That was Tatsi's intention?
Yes, so it was Tatsi's intention.
As well as Goth. And
yep.
And honestly, on the way in, you noticed Azaka kind of milling about in kind of not in the main area where adjudication is made, but like in the room that connects to the prisons, like where the public can reach without any particular permission. And she kind of looks at you as you come in, as you start heading in that direction, with one of these guards kind of leading you there, and she just follows behind you too.
And Tatsi, go ahead.
I don't know. What are you going to say?
Well, yeah. So like it's like a few seconds. So she follows behind the two. You head down some steps, and you reach to this jail cell where Makululi is. So there's these three individuals who are there in front of you, and a guard that says, "You may speak to him. Let us know when you're done." And he just kind of walks down the hall a bit and watches what you guys are doing.
And Tatsi would turn around and look back at Azaka with, "Who invited you?" type of look.
She just gives you this kind of snooty, like, yeah, whatever. Do what I want.
Hey, Macho Bird, what did you do to get yourself thrown in jail? What laws did you break?
I broke no laws. There are no laws. There's no law in this town.
There must be. You're behind bars. I can't reach you.
Come closer.
I don't know if I want to. I don't associate with that low-life crowd of criminals. But I'm here to help you if I can. Do you need the strength of my bodyguard?
I do not believe.
Look at his biceps.
No,
He showed me his biceps.
I have my own strength. I look. We're like, oh, yes, that is a fine cut of beef. Do you wish to make steak?
Yes.
Bicep.
So can I have both of you roll a strength check, Darren and Chris, just to like do that classic
I'm
moment
sure that
where
he's stronger than me. I'm
I'm
almost certain that he's stronger than me because I'm Dex
yes.
and Constitution.
Oh, that's quite all right. I want the strength check to do the flex pose off, right? You know,
awesome.
It's like a performance check, but with strength.
I have athletics too, but the strength check coming up.
I would allow performance.
Oh, that's awesome.
I would allow performance added, but using strength instead of charisma.
Oh, that's right? Oh, because then I would have +5 altogether then.
Yeah, that's fine. Roll it.
Okay. One more because I have +4 for my strength.
That's right.
Okay, just looking this up a minute.
And you can roll too, Chris, obviously. Just, hey, he might roll low. Also, you might have high performance. I don't know.
Okay, here we go. I rolled an 18, but I have to add the 4 to that, so 22.
Oh yes, you have to. Oh, how unfortunate. Yeah. So yeah, Tatsi is making this mention, and yeah, you make this comment, and there is kind of a moment like, wow, yeah, there's a lot of meat on that ball. That's for sure.
The beach is over there.
Exactly. Yep, you figured it out.
I don't care because he's just all bulk, and I'm like cut, so. You could be like a strong fat dude, but I'm cut.
This is that argument that they always have at the gyms where there's the guy that says you don't have to get into fights if you look super buff, and the guys are like, yeah, but you can't fight if you are super buff. They're just anyway. So sparks fly. Rivalry sparks.
Considering that I am a dexterity barbarian and not necessarily a strength barbarian.
Yep. Yeah.
Tazzy, while they're going kind of ego busting back and forth, striking a pose, and
I did get a 20. I got a 21.
Yeah, crazy good.
Oh wow, we're just
Zaka blushes. Zaka blushes.
He'd step. He wants to step over to the guard and say, and show him the seal and say, Prince Jabal needs this individual immediately. It's of very high importance to the city. You need to let him go and let me take him to where he is supposed to meet the prince.
The guard nods and says, the prince has already been informed.
Okay.
He will come when he deems it necessary.
Okay. What is this man's charge? Why do you lock him up? I mean, walking around like a bird in most places is odd, eccentric, but it's not necessarily a crime against the city.
It's so eccentric. I mean, we're in the jungle. People just dress like him.
So I mean, yeah, exactly. That happens too. So this guard says he was not arrested for his dress. His dress was fine. He was arrested for interfering with a formal execution.
Oh, okay. Now I get it. So what he did was rail against the law of the city.
Yes.
Ah, so he is a criminal. My goodness. How is it that the prince would engage himself with such a being?
He says, I don't know. The guard just kind of gets him. It's like, what do you want
I
from
mean,
me?
the prince would not associate with criminals, so hence is the prince a criminal, or is this just a misunderstanding and a rather harsh characterization of this man's or bird intent?
The guy says, I don't know. you're like trying to get him to fess up to some weird legal thing, and he's just like, what do you want from me? um,
Okay.
Yeah.
Right now, Taz is really being torn about something that he
I mean, you can roll some sort of check if you
that he wants to do, but he also knows it may not be the wisest thing to do at this juncture. So he's going. You'll see the furrows on his brow go up and down, and his eyes look like he's calculating something if someone is actually looking at him for that deep of an appearance.
We'll say Azaka is.
Okay.
But in the end, what happens is the guard says, either way, we will wait for one of these merchant princes to arrive, Jabal or otherwise, and if there's anything else, then you may speak to me. Otherwise, we would not like to keep you down here for obvious reasons.
Okay, yeah. And Tazi will reach up towards his top of his tunic. He'll pull. Well, no, it was he didn't put it. That was a different place, a different character. He'll reach inside his vest pocket, open up a pouch that's in it, and finger a gold coin and kind of palm it over to the guard and say, "Would this serve the cost of justice?"
Roll persuasion check.
Okay. Not exactly my best, but a 12.
Yeah. He looks at the gold coin. He seems to consider it for a moment, but then hands it back and says, he says, "You will wait for the princes. He will have to wait for the princes, just like everyone else."
Is there?
Could you have Tatsy roll an insight?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's not bad because he's actually getting pretty proficient in insight. 20.
There's not a lot of guards who wouldn't accept a bribe. From your experience. However, from your experience, if they're a guard who's from Chult, like Makahutli or this guy, or most of the other guards outside the Golden Throne, or most of the guards outside of the that are part of that guard the manors to the merchant princes, basically, they are incredibly hard to convince of anything except doing their job. Basically, you successfully convinced him not to do anything to you for trying to bribe him, like arresting you. And like sometimes that works, and like
Yeah.
that works very, very. It works plenty well with a lot of other guards. You thought maybe it would work with these guys. You know, like he seemed to be buying your story, but it just didn't matter to him. Yeah, there's a level of loyalty here that you're kind of like you understand, but it's like not, you can't buy it.
God, there's a couple things I feel like I want to do.
Yeah,
That would be so fun, but so dangerous.
yeah.
Ah. Tazi put the gold piece back and tighten up the pouch inside the jacket, inside the vest, and he'll step back and he's going to ponder this for a bit.
The guard actually says, "All right, follow me," and starts leading Azaka and Goth and yourself out of the kind of hallway outside of Makahutli's jail. So.
And on the way out, Tatsu, see you later, jailbird.
All right. Azaka waits.
I will say something to him in Chultan.
Right, exactly. Azaka laughs. And then she waits out in that main room. You can decide if you two wait as well.
But you might make out the word mother.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, we'll kind of wait to see how things play out. God, I was so torn to either attack him directly or have Goth take him out.
I'm actually not sure you would have won that. Maybe with Azaka, probably.
Here again. I said I felt that way. Not
yeah.
Character wise and like that, I think he would felt that way, and using his bodyguard muscle would really fit the character type.
It would have been a tough fight. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, I would imagine
the one guy.
Well, the hesitation is the fact is you're surrounded by all these guys. He gets one yell out, we're screwed.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. It's interesting because, well, let me roll a luck check here. Yeah, within about 15 minutes, a merchant prince does show up. That you notice kind of entering the main area with his entourage, and I think you would recognize them. Maybe you'd recognize the name. Either way, the merchant prince is Wakanga Otamu.
Okay.
And
yeah, that's the one that the person who hired us is staying with.
Yep. I rolled randomly for which one showed up and at what time, and he was the first one to show up in like an hour.
I just remember it because I thought his name was Wakanda for the longest time.
Yeah, and it's funny also because it could have been up to like 4 hours before somebody would have shown up, and he got the lowest possible roll. So yeah, it's soon after you're like in the jail for just a little bit while, like you took a nap or something, and then this guy, there's a conversation that happens between him and the guards, and then he actually goes over to Tatsi and says, I'd heard that Jabal was interested in this man. Is that right?
That is correct. And Prince Watumble, uh, Jabal, as you can see, has given me his seal and has placed me on a a mission of knowledge and has given me latitude to constrict from these cells uh, the needed manpower that I would need outside the city to get get to this temple and such, and this man seems to have some unique knowledge. Just look at how he's dressed, Prince Watambu. It's definitely not from someone from inside the city and civilization. So he came from the outside. So I think he could be very beneficial and support the desires of Prince Jabal, and I was looking to act upon this power of conscription if it would meet with your palatable taste, Prince Watombo.
He kind of looks at you like he's considering something, and he says, "What?" He says he was dressed like a bird.
Yes, a rather colorful bird with a big beak.
He turns to one of the guards and says, "Let him out." And so literally within the guards just okay, and they let you out. And as you come up, you see Otamu with some of his entourage, and he says, "Apologies for the inconvenience. I guess something must have occurred. The guards should take you in." And he turns to one of the guards and he says, "These people," he says, "some of these people here are not from around this city. If there's ever an issue like this again, please talk to me about it. I don't want them misunderstanding our customs." And the guard kind of nods at him, and then he says to Makahutli, he says, "This individual of yours, I meant your guide, of course, but these individuals say that they have been requested by Jabal to assist you in your matter, or perhaps you would assist them in theirs. I suggest that you speak with them, as Jabal is the merchant prince of guides and sellswords. I suspect Azaka already knows this," and she nods. "And he may be able to assist you greatly with what we are seeking." And he doesn't go into any more clarification as to what that is.
I just look at the guards who would have my axes and my money, and then
they hand it. No. You don't understand. They let you out, and they hand it to you immediately. As soon as they let you.
I kind of look at them like
you looked at the guards who did do that. Yeah.
And hey, I'm important, right? Hey, look at this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he says, "Well, hopefully everything goes well. I have some other business to attend to." And then he just he says, "Pleasure meeting you as always, Azaka." Azaka kind of rolls her eyes, and then he gives her a wry grin, and then it turns around and heads off.
I've strapped my axes back on. Mm-hmm. Kind of stretch, because I've been sitting in a cramped jail cell. This is why I do not think to come to the city. So full of injustice.
Yeah, but I got you out.
I'd look at him like, what you talking about, Wills? And I look at him like, yeah, okay, you did it right, buddy.
Yeah.
Wasn't totally that guy who just like.
Like, you didn't hear him say "let you out" per se, but like he clearly was there and was the guy you recognized. So yeah, you can totally make that assumption.
You're like, I kind of think I have a measure of Tatsu at this point from like my multiple interactions with him.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
I kind of just be like,
Well, you drank with him. So you had a night with him, so like, yeah, you got a sense.
like cool story, bro.
At this point, Azaka
that is a good story.
At this point, Azaka does actually turn to Tatsi though and says, "So Jabal has sponsored this trip, either yours or ours, or both."
He's sponsored and authorized me by his seal and by this codicil to map out this adventure and a couple temples and such, and he feels that we may have a co-mutual endeavor in this.
She kind of turns to Makahutli and says, Jabal is known for his success in exploring and finding the treasures of Chult. I would, as much as I hate to say this, recommend that we work with these people.
But I look at him like straight in the face and be like, how much does it pay?
You already got paid. It was Jabal that freed you. His conscription. Through my actions as a useful tool. Is that not so, Goth?
He bristles, flexing his pecs. An alternate pattern.
Right, yeah. That's a yes. That's a yes in Minotaur, clearly.
I just shrug and be like, yeah, okay, I'm not impressed. Did you kill two? Did you just single-handed? Like, I didn't see you kill two velociraptors like in one turn. So
that is true. You have respect. I thump my chest.
But such barbaric activities in you young races.
Ah, thank you.
Exactly.
But I kind of look at him, and I remember like the last time when he like took off his mask, and I'd be like, yes, whatever.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Even though I totally like probably suspect him of being like when the police were looking at him, I kind of would figure that like, oh, now that I've been around with this guy, yeah, he was probably the guy who like did that.
Maybe.
Be like, yes, that is nice, but if he wishes to go into the jungle, his influence does not extend out to the jungle. So I must insist on recompensation for my time. If you wish to have my services, otherwise, once I am out of the city, his influence is at an end.
Well, his influence is mighty within and without, but that would be a compensation that you would have to take up with him, because I do believe he would feel he paid well and dear in just allowing your freedom.
And at this point,
I kind of feel like he didn't do anything, so I'm just gonna be like, no.
No. Yeah, but at this point, Azaka says, I don't I understand where you're coming from. This Tatsi person. She just shakes her head. But she says, Jabal is not somebody we can be trifle with. He takes tithes from those who return back from the jungle with what they have found there, and not doing so is grounds for arrest. And there's no doubt there are other things that he could provide us assistance with. So if he's backing Tatsi, we either should go our separate ways or not.
Fine. No, I will allow Tatsi to come along with me.
At this point, Azaka kind of thinks about that for a moment, nods her head, and then says, "Yes, you may join us if you wish."
Tatsi turned to Goth and says, "Con, let's go."
I need more booze.
Yes, we got to get you supplied with a couple things here.
And we have a priest we still need to speak to.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. I'm wasting time with like this person. If you are a person, I'm not sure.
Tatsi, you thought I was cheap employment. Have you read the small print in our contract?
What contract?
Again, the pecs flex. There's Vaughn.
And Tatsi just says, "What contract? I didn't sign nothing. You took the gold on the table."
No, you said all equipment necessary. As see the list. Rum, girls, tobacco, and gold.
Yeah, and you got the gold.
Yeah.
And we're headed to find some tobacco and rum.
You got the rum too, actually.
Yeah, but the intent would turn around leaving was going to be to go ahead and try to find some tobacco and a few bottles of rum.
Sure.
And
actually, that sounds great. Let's get the. I'm gonna do the priest real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll do shopping and we'll get to the.
Right on, Charlie.
Sounds great. So Chris, you and Azaka head to the temple of Sabras, and Zatempe says, "Oh, thank goodness! I thought something happened to you."
It was a minor diversion. There was an injustice that I needed to take care of.
He nods, and he says, "I consulted with Zavre about this chalice you had spoken of, this location, and it sent me visions of a jungle city far to the south, enclosed by cliffs and crawling with snakes, and a black obelisk draped in vines. This place, it could feel me watching. I dare not peer any deeper, but you should seek this place out. There's something about it, something evil, something dangerous."
Goth's ears droop down. He kind of says, "It something to do with the soul monger?"
Goth's not there.
Oh, right.
Unless you went with him, actually. That's a good point. Follow him?
I'm usually with him. I'm his bodyguard.
Oh, sorry. A clarification. The priest is what Azaka and
my bad.
Makahutli are doing. So, like, Tosi and you can follow. That's fine. Do you follow?
That's up to the boss.
Charles? Oh, you're muted, by the way, Charles.
No, we were going to find tobacco and rum.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I was going to take. I'm taking care of my bodyguard to make sure that he's going to be
Stays
well
loyal.
equipped.
supplied to what he feels is what he needs.
That's right. That's right. So yeah. So yeah. So this is what Zatembe says to Makahutli and Asaka.
He says, where is this? Did your visions say where this temple was?
Far to the south, on Chult, but I don't know exactly where.
And let's see here.
What was that thing that they told me to find to
The Chalice of Jitbrikade.
Okay. I'm gonna have
There was also a city or town or some specific location that you should go to get more information
that was at the
to its
river.
location. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was at the river base. I'm like, yes, right. I have spent too much time in this city. Thank you for your divination, Sabras, please. And I'll give my respects and say a little prayer.
He nods. He returns the prayer and says, "Come back if you need anything." And he heads off.
It may be a while before I come back to Port Anzaru.
He says, "Yes, I agree."
Fort Anzaru.
So, Tatsi and Goth, you guys are going shopping. You guys looking for rum and tobacco. Do you buy Tej or do you buy just rum?
I will buy just rum.
Okay. Yeah. So that's probably I think it's 2 copper for a mug. I'm assuming you're not trying to are you trying to buy a barrel of rum and bring it
Could
with
we
you?
get a slave girl?
Hold on there, Goth. We'll discuss that aspect a little bit later. Right now, we're here trying. Can I get a couple bottles of rum? They're easier to carry.
As bottles? Okay. Yeah. You can get a bottle of rum for 8 copper pieces.
Okay. Give me 5 bottles of rum, and how are you selling? How is that? Do you have tobacco here?
Yeah.
That smoking weed.
Mm-hmm. Nods.
Oh.
He says we also have the incense that repels insects.
Well,
I don't know which some smoke to relax, and others smoke to keep insects away, and some do both.
how do they? How does it come in volume?
Blocks, and they sell. It says a silver piece each. And when lit, it burns for 8 hours.
Okay. Give me 5 blocks of each.
Of each kind. All right. So that.
Aha! Goth is looking happy.
Yeah. Wait, it's not just one. So, okay. So that is a total of 50 silver so far.
Okay, and Taz will go and say, send your bill over to Azan there for the emissary of Prince Jabal. This is all for his mission. So he'll pick up the tab on this, and he'll show Jabal's seal.
He looks at it and he says, "That does seem to be a seal for Jabal, but the merchant Prince Quayofe controls the sale of alcohol and tobacco.
Okay.
If you wish Jabal to pay for it, then you need to at least front us the money first."
Oh, Jabal said he'd pick this tab up, so
He can pick the tab up. We will pay you back for whatever it is that he picks up.
All right. Yeah, I'm trying to do some math in my head right at the moment.
Oh yeah.
You said it was 50 silver.
50 silver, so 5 gold.
And
as of now.
Yeah, and that was just for the.
That was for the bottles of rum and the tobacco.
Okay, yeah, Taz will push the issue a little bit, but if there's a non-budge there, he'll say, "Fine, I'll make sure that Prince Jabal knows how you handle his representatives and that are authorized with his seal, and give 5 gold pieces to him."
Okay. The merchant prince doesn't seem very happy about that statement, but not the merchant prince. The merchant doesn't seem very happy about that statement, but takes the gold and gives you the product anyway.
And by the way, what is your name, so I can tell Prince Jabal of your treatment to the mighty Goth and the tantalizing Tazzy.
Okay. Yeah, he says Uktawe. You can tell Jabal Uktawe sent you if you'd like.
Is that spelt with a T or a P?
T.
Oh, I thought it was Poway, like a pow papoose.
Nope.
And so he'll take that on down. He's just going to play that stick to the hilt there, and then pick up our goods and say, "All right, Goth. Let's see here. We gotta get some kind of direction, and we gotta get started here. What time of day is it? Looking on out there. What time of day you think it is, Goth? It looks about 1:15 noon to me, but with the sun and like that, but it's a bit cloudy."
Oh yeah, sure. A little cloudy, as in raining heavily. Classic Chilton statement of rain. It looks like it's a little cloudy.
Rain makes the grass grow.
Makes the jungle grow. That's what it does. Yeah, you can roll a survival check there, Darren.
Okay. A survival check, you say?
Oh yes, to determine the time of day.
Gotcha.
Also something else, but start with the time of day.
Oh, I got an 8.
All right.
I've been drinking rum.
I guess, yeah. So time of day, this rain is not really helping you here. But you do notice something interesting. Well, actually, 2 things of interest. You kind of look at it and you're like, whatever, I can't tell what time it is. Sun is gone. Weird. But so you're like, okay, well, whatever. But you notice that a lot of the roofs of these buildings are specifically very waterproofed and are set to run into gutters. But one particular merchant shop looks like it's set to run into these weird contraptions, and it has like multiple of them. It's like they just put them out in the street basically instead of letting the drainage on the side of the streets catch them. It instead has these there at that location at this merchant shop, and they look like some sort of folding contraptions made of leather and wood with legs, and basically they're forming these basins that are catching this rainfall, and it's clearly just designed to visually appeal to whoever sees it and sees that they work, right? Um, but you've never seen them before, and you're like, oh, interesting. You may do as you wish in that interaction or not.
I have a keen sense of smell, and I'm just curiously going to go toward that. Is there something about the water, anything that puts me off?
No, the water seems to just be rainwater, right? It's got a little bit of a dirt to it because it's run off a roof, but perfectly drinkable. And in fact, to the point where the person who is running the shop actually is, one person comes over and is like, I don't know, says, I don't know, this is a gold piece is 5 days worth of labor. That's not insignificant. And the guy says, but this creates drinking water for your life. Firm, sturdy construction, as you can tell, perfectly drinkable. And he just puts his hand in one of these things and just drinks it right out of them. Like,
I shrug it off for the moment.
you turn back to Tatsy, who seems to just, where is Tatsy heading?
Well, right now, Tatsy would be kind of looking about. Does he to see if he notices Macho Bird and Crazy Lady?
They, you saw them stop off at the Temple of Savras. You did not wait for them there.
Yeah, and looking about and just gonna try to find a somewhat dry spot to stand and kind of wait for them a bit and give Goth one bottle of rum and one brick of tobacco.
Yep.
And Taz put the rest in his backpack. And he'll say, this will do you for today.
Yeah.
And as far as that, and
thanks, boss.
And if you want to, you can light one up, make one and light one up, whatever you want. Right now, I'm just waiting to see what those other hoodlums will be up to, and such.
Yeah. So that's actually a good question. Well, actually, two questions here before I jump to Chris. What's happening with Makahutli again? Does Goth ask about a slave girl? Still, like you mentioned that earlier, but then it was interrupted. So I'm wondering if at some point in the conversation that you ask about that.
Oh, wow, it brought it up. Once I have a swig of rum and a smoke. Like, perhaps it'd be wise to have a consort or something. Are there any slaves in this city?
Go ahead and roll a history check, Charles.
All right.
And you can roll a perception check as well for Goth.
Oh.
History check. That's not going to be too good, I don't think. 11.
Okay.
I got a 16 on the perception.
Yeah. So 11 history check is actually high enough. DC was 10 in this case. There is no slave trade here. Specifically, if I can find where the little blurb it gives. Let me see if I can find that.
Perhaps a brothel.
Yeah, there's almost certainly brothels. That's not a question. Let's see here. It's under. Yeah. I can't remember where it says. But yeah. So Charles, you know, there's no slave trade in any particular
Okay.
form or fashion. Goth has noticed that there is has also noticed no selling of people of any kind, which is notable because that you also kind of went to an area of the town which is a little outside the walls, and so like if there was something maybe a little more dubious legally, they might have been doing it there, but they are not doing it. You weren't there very long. Like you just kind of saw it and then left, right? But
Right.
you didn't notice anything at all related to that. Like gambling seems fine, blood sport totally chill, a number of other things, but it's you have not noticed any sort of slave trade in any form.
Tazzy will say, Goth, I got an idea. Let's head out to that barbaric area that I was talking about, and we may be able to figure something out.
All right, boss, let's go have a good time.
And I guess we'll leave that until you get done with Chris. And
yeah. So that's what you guys are going to go do. Sounds good. I will describe that in a bit. So, Chris, you have acquired what you needed to start your expedition. Seems like perhaps even more than you would have preferred to start your expedition. However, as we had discussed earlier, before you leave, you'll want to speak with your people. So
Yes, I will go to wherever their compound is. It'd probably be outside the city.
actually, it's probably inside the city.
Okay.
Because it's too dangerous to be outside. But what does happen is Azaka's like, okay, well, I guess we'll meet up with them at this shops, and then we'll head off. And you're like, well, wait, hold up, right?
Yes. Well, she doesn't have to come.
Okay, but she does say, well, what's going on?
We're like, well, it is. I must do a ceremony with my family before to get the blessing.
And she kind of goes. She says, she kind of thinks for a moment, and then she says, "Do you want me there?"
So, well, it is not necessary for you to come, but if you wish to come, I don't. It's not something that's like they keep secret, right?
No, it wouldn't be a secret.
Illuminati, Illuminati family secret.
Right. Yeah. Not in this case.
Okay. So, fine.
I mean, you want to bring enemies, but that's obvious.
Well, I only have one enemy so far.
That's
Nice.
Okay. Yep. Sounds good. Okay. Yeah. So she says then she will try to find them out in the marketplace, and she goes to look for them. We'll see if she finds you. Give me a second. Okay, we'll get to that later. So you head over to them, and there's no grandeur to this building. Not in any way that the merchant prince's villas are. It's like a building under a building. But you know that your family basically owns like 5 of these buildings, so it's essentially like it would be almost as big as one of these villas if you included everybody's housing,
Going back to the favela.
basically. And you come in, and one of the warriors, this one dressed with bird feathers, much like your own, but the plumage is significant and actually has a skull, what you know as a pterofolk, which is a kind of dinosaur-like person.
Hmm.
And he's not your father, but he's your father, quote unquote, right? And he says, so you are ready to leave then, as you arrive.
Just, yes, I am eager to get out of this city. I've dealt enough with the foreigners and their justice and their customs. It is it very much ranks upon my my conscience.
And your
I
honor.
wish to be away from it for a while. Yes. Well, I keep my honor intact.
And he was scowling the entire time, but when you mentioned keeping your honor intact, he kind of there's a small smile that creeps on his face, and then he says, "I will prepare the paints. The grandfathers will see, the elders will see you." And he kind of leads you through one of the buildings. It looks like one of the walls has been purposely broken down. Like it was supposed to be 2 buildings. They just broke through the wall, and they kind of then lead you up into outside, but it's like under 2 roofs basically that like completely block the rain, and so you come up these set of stairs and go into a different house, small back alleyway that all connect these houses, and you're led into one of the few houses that isn't beautifully decorated, at least on the outside, because it has kind of a green and black painting rather than the beautiful plumage of your culture. And but inside it's even more decorative, and you can see that a number of pieces of incense have been lit, but not. It doesn't have like a floral smell to it. It has a very strong. It's basically tobacco, right? Smell to it, but it's you know, it
It's not
inspires.
ayahuasca, is it?
I'm not sure, but it inspires courage. We'll say it's the kind of thing that you smell and you go, "Oh boy, okay," right? And you can see that there's the oldest of the family is kind of sitting off his own chair. He just has a cushion, and he's just kind of leaning against it, and he's kind of muttering something to himself. And the 2 next oldest are sitting in their chairs, and they're kind of looking at you, kind of judgmentally. And the father who led you in here kind of goes back out to prepare the paints, and these 2 elders one of them motions for you to sit at a cushion in front of them. And I would like you to roll 3D100 for me, please.
Ooh. 3D100. Let's see here. 93 is the first one, 80 is the second, and 58 is the third.
Okay. And I would like you okay, so tell me the first one first.
93.
Ooh. All right. I would like an insight check. As the first one starts speaking, he starts telling of a story of a place. There's no names are mentioned as part of this ritual, but there's a place that is being described. Go ahead and roll the insight check.
All right. I have no idea. I got an 8.
All right. He speaks of a plateau overlooking a deep basin, and speaks of a village that once held many people, but each one disappeared. And he says, he's saying it in very almost fables terms. He says, does the traveler know? No. Does the leopard know? No. And he goes through a list, and by the end of it, and he says, no one knows why these people are disappearing. But then he says, but should you follow the river named of a star, then you will find this plateau. The second one then starts speaking. I need you to roll another insight check for me and tell me what the number was again. The second number.
It was 80. And let's see here. Oh, that's a nat 20, so 20.
Oh, that's very good. Okay. So the second one speaks and says, a city lies up a river named for the man who found it, past a deep gouge of mountain of the named for the people who explored it. However, though these people supposedly have not exist, how can a gouge of earth be named if no one had explored it by those who had explored it? And then he goes on to continue describing it. You realize that he's actually describing a real place, or at least you understand that some of the places he's describing. And this is what it translates to with your successful insight check. There is a ruined city that lies up the river Tath, past Kahakla Gorge. Supposedly no one's explored past the gorge, but that's not true. It's just that the few who made it out alive mostly keep quiet about what they found there. And this guy is saying that there are these ruins that are guarded by a Naga who is both wise and generous up in that direction. So it's couched in like figurative language, but you realize he's describing of a place that could exist in Chult. Go ahead and tell me what the last D100 is and roll an insight check.
Okay, it was 58.
Okay.
And that's a nat 1, so.
Okay. That's fine. The old man in the middle, the oldest man, starts rambling in the same way, right? But you're not. It's clear. It's weird because what he is talking about is super obvious, but he's couching it as if it was not. So he's basically saying he's basically saying there's a giant creature with a hard shell and 4 legs that lives forever and is in the bay, named after its snapping mouth, and it's as big as a house. He's a king. He has a name that starts with T and ends with Oba, and his shell has precious things embedded in it, and he kind of just like rambles about that for a bit, and you're like, oh, he's referring to the giant turtle that exists in the bay of the Snapping Turtle Bay. It's literally right outside the city. Like it's not anywhere important. um,
Okay.
but
Oh, well, there's a dragon turtle out there. Okay.
yeah, you're like, whoa, good to know, I guess. Um, but yeah, he kind of mutters this, and he goes on for a while trying to describe, like it's like he really wants you to get it, but as part of the ritual, you're not really supposed to interrupt them, and so he keeps going over these details over and over, like as if make sure that you know. And at some point in this process, the adopted father, the father, brings in a number of paints, and he and at this point, the oldest elder kind of gets quiet, continues to mutter to himself, but he gets quiet, and him and with some assistance from the other two elders, they paint redo the ritualistic paints on your body, and he and as he takes the paints away, and you follow with him, you do the finishing parts. Basically, he hands these paints to you, just a little chest full of brightly colored paints, and he says these will protect you on your journey, and hopefully the wisdom of the elders will come in handy. And he kind of nods solemnly, like and wishes you to continue to have your honor unmarred by these people and the jungle. As he kind of gives a little smile at the corner of his skull.
I'll take the paints and I'll put them in there and I'll be like, yes, I will try to be. I shall keep my honor intact in the jungle and amidst the Tatsis of the world.
All right. So Tatsi and Goth, you're having fun at a different place. It's called the place.
It's called the place, huh?
Yep, it's actually called the Old City, but yeah, you head out to the Old City. And what are you doing there?
Well, Tatsi would be looking over at, I'm sure they got a holding pen for contestants in that pit.
They do, yes.
And I'm sure they have guards guarding it.
They do, yes. Mostly the walls, but there's some in that area as well, for the executions around and such.
And Tatsi's going to go up to he's going to go up and he's going to inspect the cage. Are there any
with a criminal there?
Say what?
The cage with a criminal in it?
Yeah. Does it have just one criminal or criminals?
There's like 3 cages with criminals in them, but they are more often, like, basically they bring criminals in to be put in these cages so that they go through the run at some point during the day, and so like these 3 are probably going to be the only 3 today.
Okay. And looking at that, are there any females in there?
We'll see. 2 of them are.
Okay. What's the ages on the females?
One looks pretty young, probably between 25 and 35. The other one looks a bit older, something closer to 40 to 50.
Okay. Tatsi's going to talk to the one guard about the 40 to 50-year-old and say, you from around here?
Guard goes,
Nice.
I'm from the mainland.
Oh, okay. Now, I was wondering if we might be able to make a mutually appreciative commercial venture with each other.
Yeah.
You you see that one older lady you have in there? What did she do wrong?
Killed 3 men.
She did. Oh, so she's expertise there. All right. So she's very dangerous and distasteful. Um,
It's
Yeah.
perfect.
I was, I was, I was wondering if I happened to set down, let's say, 3 silver pieces, would you be able to release her to my charge for? We need a, a camp cook and a camp
Milkmaid.
um, a camp mother, so to say, to take care of and keep up after this. And he'll turn to Goth and this big hairy friend of mine. Yeah, because you see his coat. It needs to be brushed just like a maiden's hair so many times a day.
He kind of looks to you. Roll a persuasion check.
Okay, let's see here. All right, 15.
He goes, are you taking her back to the city?
Uh, Not necessarily.
He says, well, I don't really care what happens to these people one way or the other. She'll probably die much like anybody else in these runs. But if you want to take her off our hands,
Yeah. See, mutual.
and she doesn't show up later in the city,
Okay.
then we have a deal.
All right. And Tazzy will give him the 3 silver.
Okay.
And turn to Goth and say, "There, let's go this way." And who's gonna open up the cage for us?
He kind of looks and he says, I can do that.
Okay.
And he opens up this wooden cage. The older lady kind of looks suspiciously at the situation, and she goes, she doesn't leave immediately.
Okay. And Tazzy is a woman. We just freed you, and your charge is to take care of my friend Goth. Cook, brush, and such.
She is not pretty like a minotaur, but she will do.
That's right. She says, how much am I being paid? And she gets up. She seems interested.
You're getting a meal a day, and you're getting your life. Is that not worth such?
But there's no slavery here.
This
There's no slavery, quote unquote.
This is not slavery. This is a business deal.
That's right, quote unquote. Anyway, and she roll a persuasion check.
Come on, I need a real good number. 11.
Yeah. She goes, okay.
Damn.
And I think so she says okay. And it's around this point that Azaka finally finds you. It takes
Okay.
like she the entire time you went shopping, the entire time you went out to this place, she's like finally goes, all right, I think we're ready to go. She notices the lady in the cage. She just kind of shrug. Like, actually, what I'll say is, the lady in the cage leaves the cage. You're walking out somewhere, perhaps to return to the General Kai's house of repose, or find the other two people, and then Azaka finds you.
Okay.
And she says, "I think we're ready to go. Are you three ready to go?"
We were
Lead
just
on.
just headed to sit here and possibly have a meal, but we can eat as we go, right, woman?
She does.
And remember, take care of Goth.
She nods.
And instead of just calling you woman, what is your name?
Hotly.
What?
Hotly.
What?
She considers this for a moment, and then she says, Lee.
What?
Just
and Tazia say, "All right, Oatley." Do we understand each other, Oatley?
I am speaking common, so are you.
But I'm talking about your job.
Oh, yes, the job is very clear.
Okay.
She says, brush this handsome creature.
Yes. And cook for him.
And cook for him.
Yes.
I could cook for you as well if you'd like.
Well, we'll see. Depends on how well you cook. But and that's where Kazi would be going through this while listening to Azaka.
Right. Yeah, and Azaka definitely does not know who this old lady is, and is not, well, she's not super old, but does not know who this lady is. And like, she went to go find you guys. I guess probably what she did is she actually probably talked with Makahutli as to where to meet up. So where does Makahutli want to meet up? Were you just gonna meet at the city gates? Chris, you're muted, by the way.
Yeah, it's just meet him outside in the city gate.
Okay.
I'm ready to get out of this town. I'm ready to leave this town.
That's right.
Yeah.
So she finds you
possible.
guys. She says, "All right, we're just waiting for Makahutli," and then Makahutli shows up. Like, it just took her that long to find you guys. And then and you guys can start leaving. As you are just at the exit, just leaving the old city, just at the end of Executioner's Run, getting into the jungle of Port Nanzaru. Azaka says, "Oh, you have at least one rain catcher among you, right?"
I can't remember if I picked one up or not, to be honest.
You did not.
Okay, then there it goes. No.
Yeah. Um,
Why is this not?
all right. And she kind of pauses for a moment, and then she says, "We have you of yours, right, Wakahuli?"
This is, yes, I do.
Mine. Do we need a? We need a third. With 4 people, maybe. With 5, we need at least 3.
Sinner says, why are we taking an old woman into the jungle?
That is a good question. Why are we taking an old woman and a wise woman into the jungle?
She's our cook.
You want to have gourmet meals out in the jungle?
It's part of the
Well,
contract.
She looks at Tetsu like, surely you understand.
well,
We either get another rain catcher or
all right, there we are.
If we wish to go to the jungle, we cannot. We may go many nights without meals because we wish to
Wow.
move as fast as possible.
Oh, I see. I'm used to ships. I need to cook on a ship. But you
Well,
are wise. You are a guide. Woman, you must stay here, I guess. Here, gold piece for you to buy a hotel room. I'll be back in a few
no,
days.
she can't go into the city.
Oh,
She'll come with us. She'll come with us. Don't worry. If she slows us down, we'll see that things are taken care of.
I could always eat her.
That's true.
Azaka looks at both of you like you're the most disgusting people she's ever looked at. And then she says she turns to the woman and she says, "You're not allowed in the city." And she kind of looks at Tatsi and Goth and she nods her head. Yes. And then she says, "Then stay outside the city, but don't come with us." And she kind of glares at Tatsi like to disagree with her.
She's safer with us than staying outside the city.
No, she isn't.
Yes, yes, she is.
No, she isn't.
Goth will protect her.
Huh?
She looks at the lady, and then the lady says, "I can take care of myself." And then Azaka kind of gives her a suspicious look.
Tatsi pretty much figures that she can take care of herself because of the charge that he knows that she was.
She has, exactly. And then
That's also why he's cautious about wanting to eat anything she makes.
right. Exactly. So yeah, Azaka kind of shrugs and then says, "All right. I guess that's your choice." And you will be making your way into the jungle next session.
All
Nice.
right.
Okay.
So we're.
Oh,
Let's see here. We're spotlight. Put that
so
over here.
one note
Right
that
there.
you, Chris, probably want to mention is the description I gave about that rumor related to let's see, the ruined city that lies up the river Taff. That the river Taff and the ruined city that lies up there Well, you don't know the name of the city, but you know.
Hey, kitty. Whoa, sorry.
Let's see. I believe it's. Yeah.
Well, let's see.
So that is going to be. So that location is like based on the maps stuff is going to be pretty far out of your way to the west, but it would be it would not be much further south than where Azaka is looking to get to.
Now this is where you're talking about here, right?
So that's the River Tath. The gorge they're referring to is not on the map, and that's why I'm mentioning it.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying to give so everybody that can see the map can go ahead and realize the geographic.
Yeah.
Because here's where we're at.
So yeah, if you go down to the source of the river Chiriki, see that there, just to the. If you went straight west, then you would get to the approximate location given in that description.
Okay, where's the place I was told to go first?
Curseball. That's actually on the map, and you can see it down past the river Orlong.
Okay, I mean,
Curseball.
Either way, we're gonna have, if we're gonna go to either one, we're gonna have to either choose one or the other or backtrack. So
yeah, so it's way out of your way, but it's but it is a location that you have an awareness of, which is why I'm saying to put right on your character sheet rather than otherwise. Also, Darren.
The river, city at the end of the River Tath. That's what I know about.
Yeah, there's a ruined city past the Kahakla Gorge. There's a place marked there, but the gorge continues up north, presumably. And so it's past that gorge, so it's somewhere that direction, right? Now, Darren, you can put on your character sheet as a cohort, classic second edition term, a
nice
older lady somewhere.
Gotcha.
Her name is spelled Ohtli, and you can, if you want, you can put them like criminal next to her or something. Yeah.
Sweet.
And Tassie bought that equipment, and you. So Charles.
Yes.
A little medallion, but you also have that scroll.
Yes.
That scroll has an official wax seal of the fire fist, or the flaming fist. So you might want to mark that down as well.
Fire. What did you say?
I think it's called the Flaming Fist.
Flaming Fist. Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely worst name ever.
I don't know.
Right on, guys. Thanks for playing and stuff. That was cool.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. One last thing here, Darren. It seems like the character you're playing is definitely the strong, silent type. But if you are feeling, feel free to participate, as it were, if that makes sense. I know some people want that kind of play style, and other people want to talk a lot and feel like their character holds them back. So, feel free to describe your character doing a thing, even if he's not saying a thing. And that.
All right, you got it. Yeah, I was getting the feel for things too, and the way you guys play.
Yep, of course. I just wanted to make sure that you're having fun.
You got it.
And if I'm not mistaken, just to make sure I'm clear on it, you guys are going from Port Nanzaru down the river Chiriki. Is that right? Like that's the general direction that Azaka's leading you, because she's trying to get to the place she's trying to get to, as well as that's the general direction of where Makohuki is trying to get to.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the last game. That's where they were determined to go, because it was
Right.
I'm not going to say easiest, but it made the most sense to try to
Most
get.
direct, yeah.
Right.
Part of the reason I bring that up is so that I know what to look at
Yep.
messing with you guys with.
Yes.
Down
Hey,
that
we
direction.
can mess
Mhm.
around with each other fine enough.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
I noticed that very well. But yeah. So, all right. Thanks for playing. Hope you all had fun.
Oh yeah.
You
Oh
bet.
yeah.
And I will talk to you later. I will post the event this Saturday as usual, Saturday or Sunday.
Okay.
Once I know my schedule for next week.
And
See how people are.
one XP?
Oh yes, 1 XP and
Sweet.
inspirations for your character, Chris. Actually, you know what? 1 inspiration from all your characters. That was a lot of good role playing going on, and I'll just give you another inspiration there, Chris, for the.
Sweet.
All righty.
Thanks, guys. I got some